A mother's desperate plea brings investigators to a Michigan home where an unseen force stalks the children nightly. The modest two-story home on Saginaw Street in Pontiac, Michigan, stands quiet in the autumn of 1974, its white siding and neat lawn offering no indication of the terror unfolding within its walls. Inside, Sally and Raymond Herman and their 4 children are experiencing phenomena that will push their family to the breaking point and attract the attention of paranormal investigators who will document one of the most disturbing cases of alleged inhuman haunting in Michigan history. The Herman family lives an ordinary middle-class existence before the events begin. Raymond works in the automotive industry, while Sally manages their household and cares for their children. The family attends church regularly and maintains strong ties to their community. They are not people prone to flights of fancy or superstition. They are practical, hard-working Americans trying to raise their family in peace. But in September 1974, that peace shatters completely. The activity begins subtly, as it so often does in cases of this nature. Objects move from their designated places. Sally finds kitchen items relocated to different cupboards, despite knowing with certainty where she placed them. Doors that were closed stand open. Doors that were open swing shut with no breeze to propel them. The family dismisses these occurrences as forgetfulness, as tricks of memory, but the phenomena escalate rapidly, leaving no room for rational explanation. Within weeks, the disturbances grow violent and focused. The children become the primary targets of whatever presence inhabits the home. At night, the youngest children cry out as unseen hands pull their blankets away, exposing them to the cold air. They report feeling pressure on their chests as they lie in bed, as though something sits atop them, crushing the breath from their lungs. Scratch marks appear on their arms and legs, thin crimson lines that burn and sting. The children's bedroom becomes a place of dread rather than rest. The phenomena extend beyond the children's room and begin manifesting throughout the entire house. Furniture moves on its own. The heavy dining table slides across the floor while the family watches in horrified fascination. Chairs tip backward with no one near them. Pictures fly from walls, their glass shattering against the opposite surfaces. The sounds are perhaps worst of all. Heavy footsteps ascending the stairs when all family members are accounted for, knocking that emanates from inside the walls, and low guttural growling that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere simultaneously. Sally Herman reaches a breaking point when the attacks on the children intensify. Her maternal instinct to protect her offspring overrides any fear of ridicule or disbelief. She contacts local clergy first, hoping that prayer and blessing might cleanse whatever darkness has taken root in their home. A priest arrives and performs a blessing, moving through each room with holy water and scripture. For 3 days, the house remains quiet. The family dares to hope. But on the 4th night, the activity returns with renewed fury, as though the blessing only served to anger the presence. Desperate and frightened, Sally begins reaching out beyond conventional religious channels. She contacts researchers and investigators who specialize in paranormal phenomena. Her plea for help reaches William Ramsey, a paranormal investigator based in Michigan with extensive experience in alleged hauntings and demonic cases. Ramsey takes Sally's calls seriously. The consistency of her account, the physical evidence of scratches and moved objects, and the escalating pattern of violence toward the children all suggest to him a legitimate case requiring immediate investigation. Ramsey arrives at the Herman home in late October 1974, bringing with him recording equipment, cameras, and documentation tools. He interviews each family member separately, noting the consistency of their testimonies and the genuine fear evident in their demeanor. The children, particularly the younger ones, display anxiety and reluctance to discuss what they have experienced. This reluctance, Ramsey notes in his case files, is consistent with trauma rather than fabrication. Children who invent stories typically embellish and perform. These children withdraw and whisper. The investigator establishes a baseline by spending daylight hours in the home, observing the family's normal routines and searching for conventional explanations. He checks for structural issues that might cause sounds, examines the plumbing and electrical systems, and rules out natural causes for the phenomena. He finds nothing that explains the experiences the family reports. The house is structurally sound, the systems function properly, and there are no environmental factors that could account for the disturbances. Ramsay decides to remain in the house overnight, positioning himself in the children's bedroom where the most violent activity occurs. He brings a cassette recorder to capture audio and keeps detailed written notes of everything he observes. As darkness falls, the atmosphere in the house changes palpably. The temperature drops despite the functioning furnace. The air feels heavy, oppressive, as though something massive and invisible presses down upon the space itself. At approximately 2 in the morning, the activity begins. Ramsay hears footsteps in the hallway outside the bedroom. He opens the door to find the corridor empty, but the footsteps continue, moving past him and down the stairs. He follows the sound, his recorder running, documenting everything. In the living room, he witnesses furniture moving. A chair rocks violently back and forth, with no one near it. The cassette recorder captures knocking sounds that seem to respond to Ramsay's questions, creating what appears to be an intelligent pattern of communication. Most disturbing to the investigator is what happens when he returns upstairs. He enters the children's room to find the youngest child asleep, but clearly distressed, whimpering and thrashing. As Ramsay approaches, he observes scratches forming on the child's exposed arm, thin lines appearing spontaneously on the skin as though drawn by invisible claws. He documents this with photography, capturing images that will become crucial evidence in the case file. Based on his investigation and documentation, Ramsay determines that the Herman family is experiencing what he classifies as an inhuman haunting. The intelligence behind the phenomena is malevolent and focused, targeting the most vulnerable members of the household. The escalating pattern of violence, the response to religious intervention, and the nature of the physical attacks all point, in Ramsay's assessment, toward a non-human entity rather than a human spirit or residual haunting. Ramsay recommends a formal exorcism or intensive spiritual cleansing performed by experienced clergy. He connects the family with religious authorities who have dealt with similar cases. The process that follows is intensive and extends over several weeks. Multiple blessings and prayers are conducted. The family participates in spiritual counseling and religious observances designed to strengthen their faith and resistance to the oppressive presence. Gradually, over the course of several months, the activity diminishes. The violent physical attacks cease first, followed by the movement of objects and the disturbing sounds. By spring of 1975, the Herman family reports that their home feels normal again. The oppressive atmosphere has lifted. The children sleep peacefully through the night. Whatever presence tormented them appears to have departed or been successfully expelled. The Herman family chooses to remain in their Pontiac home following the resolution of the haunting. They speak rarely of what they experienced, preferring to move forward rather than dwell on the trauma. For them, the case is closed, a dark chapter in their family history that they survived through faith and persistence. For paranormal researchers, however, the Herman haunting becomes an important case study. William Ramsay's documentation, including audio recordings, photographs of the scratches, and detailed witness testimonies, provides valuable evidence for researchers studying alleged inhuman hauntings. The case demonstrates the pattern that investigators have observed in numerous similar instances: targeting of children, escalation despite religious intervention, physical manifestations, and eventual resolution through intensive spiritual warfare. The Pontiac haunting raises questions that persist decades later. What was the nature of the presence that invaded the Herman home? Was it, as Ramsay concluded, an inhuman entity drawn to the family for reasons unknown? Or does the explanation lie in psychological phenomena, environmental factors, or possibilities science has yet to identify? The physical evidence documented in the case, particularly the photographs of scratches forming spontaneously, challenges skeptical explanations while still leaving room for debate. The case matters because it represents the experience of an ordinary family thrust into extraordinary circumstances. The Hermans did not seek attention or notoriety. They sought help and protection for their children. Their willingness to allow investigation and documentation, despite the personal cost and potential ridicule, provides researchers with valuable data in the ongoing effort to understand paranormal phenomena. Today, the house on Saginaw Street continues to stand, home to families who may never know the history contained within its walls. The Herman children, now adults with families of their own, carry the memories of those terrifying months in 1974 and 1975. Whether what they experienced was demonic, psychological, or something science cannot yet explain, the fear was real, the scratches were documented, and the case remains in the files of paranormal researchers as testimony to the mysteries that persist at the edges of human understanding. This story was created with AI assistance based on documented case files. All events reference real investigations and reported incidents.